Hello everyone, my name is John Michael Bushman and welcome back to YuGiOh Master Duel and welcome also to the Year of the Dragon. What you see before you is the one and only mythical Dragon Ruler deck, the pure Dragon Ruler deck. Now, I have been playing this deck off stream, off cam, not off stream. No, I don't stream yet, but I have been playing this baby off cam, and let's just say my win rate with this deck is nearly non-existent because spoiler alert, and it might make you turn off the video right here right now. This version of the deck is bad. Bad in the sense that when you're playing the absolute floor of the deck, you're not exactly going to get very far. This is the Link Spam variant of Dragon Rulers, and its main goal is to establish the Tri-Gate Wizard Lock, or in this case, the Tri-Gate Wizard Negate, where you have three monsters all pointing to Tri-Gate Wizard, and hopefully have a free negate here and there, alongside a Rise Hard and or Flare Metal Dragon. And all of that, of course, is enabled by this utterly broken Xyz monster, Galaxy Tomahawk. Now, if none of you kids have ever seen or played against Dragon Rulers, let Uncle John here give you the basics. Now, in Dragon Rulers, there are two primary monsters in the Dragon Ruler deck. It's the babies and the daddies. The babies all have a shared effect, which I will put up on screen. Editing me, you're going to have to do just a little bit of work here. All of the babies share an effect where you discard this card and the appropriate element, and then it summons the dragon of the same element. So, for example, if you discard Burner and one other dragon, you summon Blaster out of the deck. And then all of the daddies have three effects. Yes, they all have three effects, but one thing you should know, you can only use one of those three per turn, and that is something that you will trip over multiple times, especially if you're not used to piloting this deck. So you have to be very careful in managing your once per turns with this deck, because once you don't, you're going to be a sitting duck. Now, the three Dragon Daddies all share a couple of effects. One, if it's in your hand or graveyard, you can banish a total of two appropriate element and or dragons from the hand or graveyard, except the card, to special summon it. And then you can discard that dragon and one other dragon of the same element to do its unique effect, and then if they're banished, you get to search the appropriate or rather the same element as that dragon. That is basically it. Those are all of the things that you should remember about the common effects between the Dragon Daddies. Now, for their unique effects, we're gonna go over them now. Redux here, he is the thickest boy of the bunch, with 3000 defense. His unique effect is he is a monster reborn. So as you can see here, you can discard this card and one earth monster to the graveyard, then target a monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. Note that it doesn't preclude himself, so he can also revive himself, which is insane. What the hell? Oh my god. So that's what Redux does. Then Tidal, his unique effect is you send a monster from the graveyard. So there's a reason why Tidal and Redux have been banned for the longest time, is because an essentially free monster reborn or an essentially free foolish burial is still a monster reborn and a foolish burial. So you need exactly graveyard hate. Well, that's not even going to help too much, especially if it's like Macrocosmos, because if the Dragon Daddies are banished, they're going to do their search effect instead, so it's not really a loss. And then going back, Blaster, his unique effect is it just pops a card on the field. Note that it targets, so be careful about that. And also about targets that cannot be destroyed by conventional means. And finally, Tempest. I always rag on this guy for being the weakest of the bunch, since he only really just searches another card. That's all he does. And yeah, if this card is banished, that's literally all he does. Banish 2, yeah, he just special summons himself and then searches another Wind Dragon. That's literally all Tempest does. He's just an extender for the entire archetype. And that's basically it. I don't really need to say anymore. This deck was the terror of the meta way back when. It was so prolific that one of the ways to test your skill with this deck way back when is to face off against someone in a mirror. And if you win, then you are worthy in wielding the Dragon Ruler deck. But you're gonna see now why that does not exactly fly in 2024 Yu-Gi-Oh! But before we get into the duels, a couple of tech choices. Of course, the Master Duel attacks of Max C, Ash, Blossom, Infinite Permanence, Called by the Grave, and Cross of Designator. The deck's core, honestly, is as you can see here, it's an extremely clean 30 monsters, and then just a mix of spells and traps. Just 30-10 all around. It's really clean and fun to look at. You could bump this up to 42 by having 3 cards of the Sacred Sword of 7 Sword 7 stars, because it banishes a level 7, yes, and also just draw 2, but because all of the Dragon Daddies have a banish effect anyway, this is honestly completely fine. Now, the reason why I bumped this down to 2 is because I want to see most of my Dragon Babies as much as possible. And having a lot of spells and traps sometimes dilutes the chances of you getting to your monsters. And then another extender here, that this was also a semi-staple way back when, alongside Super Rejuvenation, Return of the Dragon Lords. This is a specific monster reborn for level 7 or 8 dragons, and that's it. It's an in archetype. Well, not exactly in archetype. It's an in type monster reborn. It revives the dragons. And for the extra deck, this is where it gets a little spicy. Because your first goal is to always get to the Galaxy Tomahawk. That is your first and only goal, and then from there you will literally just link spam all the way until high heaven. Now, where this gets a little wonky is basically the entire link ladder. You basically want to get Reprodocus onto the extra monster zone first, so that you have an arrow pointing down. And then once you have an arrow pointing down, you have to get into Proxy Dragon, which will allow you to set up the 2 nightmares here, because they are 2 arrows that point to left and right. Respectively, and they're like the easiest monsters to get into that will easily trigger Trigate Wizard. But if you don't want your removal, you can just set up the Proxy Dragons instead, and then just get Trigate Wizard in. But the reason why I would prefer the Nightmares is because they have higher attack than Proxy Dragon ever will, because Proxy Dragon at 1400 is a little less than Cerberus and Phoenix at a combined, like, I think this is around 3500. Yes, this is 3500 by themselves, and then alongside your other stuff that you will have on board, it's usually more than enough to OTK. And then once you get Trigate Wizard down, that's a negate. And then if you also somehow manage to get Arise Heart and or Flare Metal Dragon, this is the alternate line that you could go into. Getting 3 level 7s with this deck is extremely easy. And then, to put it alongside Flare Metal Dragon, just burn your opponent for every time that they try to do something. And it also helps that this cannot be destroyed by traditional means. And you don't exactly use the detach effect, so it will permanently have that destruction immunity, which is really weird, but there you go. There's also the Avramax line, of course, because every link spam deck needs the Avramax line. Masquerena into an unkillable an essentially unkillable Avramax, and then otherwise a bunch of Go Second staples or Appaloosa as an alternative end board boss monster. So yeah, we're gonna see if the Dragon Daddies have what it takes to survive in 2024 Yu-Gi-Oh! But if my experience is any indication, they may not be as powerful as they used to be. But granted, they're still very powerful. I will say that much. They are still very powerful, and there are people who have taken this deck and have built far more explosive, I guess, and far more consistent decks than the one that I am showing here, because those variants dip into the synchro pool. Getting to level 10 with this deck is extremely easy because you have a lot of really good level 3s. Hashtag hint hint, Ash Blossom and all of her ghost sisters are all level 3s, by the way, and they're all tuners. So getting to your level 10s is extremely easy. And also, again, same thing. You can also just link spam with this deck. The Go Second tools for link spamming is extremely easy to get to these days. So yeah, let's roar into the competition. Won the die roll, so that's always good. And this deck's biggest flaw, which is honestly really surprising, is that this deck lives and dies by the by the skirt of Ash Blossom's dress, and this is actually really bad. Holy shit. So we can special summon Blaster here, because we don't exactly have a target. Or we can just summon Redox. I think I'd rather have... Oh, wait. No. We have an Earth. We have an Earth. We have two Earths in two maxis. But this will cost our whole hand. So, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna special summon here. Okay. So, we're gonna banish these two. Unfortunate, yes. But, he has an effect anyway. Redox has a banish effect anyway, so this is fine. This is completely fine. So Redox is banished. Oh no, what are we gonna do? It's also really funny that Redox does not lock him out of searching himself, so this is also completely fine. Oh no, because we already used a once per turn effect, and that's pretty much it. Let's just hope that this Max C is going to get us where we need to go. So your turn, opponent, and yes, now you're seeing the biggest problem with this deck. If you don't manage your once per turns really well, it's going to screw you over very hard. But otherwise, here, Maxi check. Do you have the Ash Blossom, opponent? Because otherwise, I will just stare at you. He did not have the Ash Blossom, but he could still kill me here, though. Dimensional Fissure. Alright, everybody knows that Dragon Rulers are all over the place. So that is completely fine. We are facing off against Gran Maju, a deck that I never thought I'd ever see again. You know, I was watching Hardleg's Let's Build series recently, and he was trying to build Nemleria, which is a pendulum based OTK deck, and a lot of the comments all said that Nemleria is the best support Yusenju has ever gotten. So I might actually build that. Because it's really it will likely be really funny, because your Senjus are what Fluanderies were before Fluanderies was a thing. So there's that. And I have experience in playing Yosenjus before, so it will be it will be quite easy for me to get into the groove of it. Although, of course, I would have to learn what Nemleria does. But apart from that, Nemleria seems like a really fun deck, but it's flawed in the sense that it doesn't really get to do too much. It does one thing and one thing only, but otherwise, we will not survive in this duel at all, because we need to turn off Dimensional Fissure in order to do what we need to do. Or what we can do is, no, we can't even crash into Eater of Millions here, so we just lost. We see, this is the biggest weakness of Dragon Rulers. Graveyard hate that banishes, because all of the Dragon Daddies need to send themselves to the graveyard. So let's just move on to the next duel. Going first, so let's see if our Dragon Daddies are going to survive this time. And we got Tempest and Tidal. Not exactly what I'm looking for, but I believe it's decent enough. So I mean, we're gonna take wins where we can get around here, because I've been on quite the losing streak with the Dragon Daddies. Should I count that? Probably should. This is a best of one game after all, so we'll take wins like this around here. Move on to the next duel. Going first, I've been winning my die rolls, but that doesn't mean I'm winning. Jesus Christ. Okay, Return of the Dragon Lords is a really good way to push past whatever bullshit my opponent could potentially have here. So, we're gonna see how far we're gonna get. We're gonna get Burner, activate the Burner, we're gonna discard Tempest. Do you have something for this opponent? Nothing, alright. Blaster on the field. Then we're gonna use Return of the Dragon Lords. God, it actually feels good that it's only a 2 of, not a 3 of. Because sometimes what ends up happening is I end up drawing either too many of this and not enough of the monsters. And if that happens, nobody's going to have a good time. So I have not used Tempest's effect yet, so we're just gonna do the the combo that a lot of 2013 players are gonna be very familiar with. Well, well, not exactly, but because way back when they had They had, who was that? They had Galaxy. They had Dark Matter Dragon. Yeah, Galaxy Dark Matter Dragon, which was a mill 3, and it just milled it just milled all of the dragons, the major dragons, and just so that they could set up their shit really well. So yeah, all right. So while I'm setting this up, I'm going to talk over what I'm doing here. So yes. Also, if you're going to summon Galaxy Tomahawk, you'd better make sure it's always in the extra monster zone, because if not, you're gonna have a bad time. All right. Then we do this, Reproducus. There we go. And then we're gonna do this. We're gonna activate Tempest. We're gonna banish Tomahawk. Of note, Tomahawk is also a wind. That's the one thing I always somehow manage to forget. Galaxy Tomahawk is a fucking wind monster. Like, what the hell? As if it didn't already have enough help. Like, Jesus Christ. And my opponent didn't even allow me to go into the wombo combo. I was going to go into the minimum of getting Trigate Wizard onto the field so that I can, go, negate. And my opponent didn't even allow me. God damn it. Oh well, we take wins like that around here. Next duel. I have been winning my die rolls, but again, I have no idea if that's even a good thing. Okay, should I use Tempest's effect because I have a Return of the Dragon Lords? Yes. Because this will allow me to search Tempest again. Good God, why are they like this? Just why are they like this? It's just insane at how much power is hidden behind those dragon daddies. But these days, at least in the games that I've been in, they're just fine. They are, however, really good extenders in their respective elements, and that's saying something. So we're gonna keep going here. So we're gonna use Reactan. We're gonna discard Tempest because we have a Return of the Dragon Lords, and then they haven't shown me an Ibiru just yet, so we're gonna keep comboing off here. And we have not normal summoned, by the way, so that's a thing about Dragon Ruler decks. If you play your cards right, you can end up going through your whole turn without a single normal summon. So we're gonna keep going here. So we do this, and we do this, and Galaxy Tomahawk over here. There we go. Of note, we have already used an effect by Tempest, so we're not gonna be able to pop off too hard. But I just hope that this will be enough. So we get the 5 tokens down. So 1. And once my laptop recovers, right, then 2, and 3, and then 4, and then 5. Alright. Now that we have all of that done, we're gonna get Reproducus. Should we actually, because he turns a card into the type or attribute, that is interesting. We could turn it into a dragon, or we can turn it into a wind. But I believe I have not used Redox's effect yet. That is interesting. Alright, we're gonna do it like this. So we're gonna use Tomahawk, and we're gonna use one of the Battle Eagle tokens. I haven't done this line yet, so this will be very interesting. Now we're gonna use Reproducus's effect. We're gonna declare an attribute instead, and we will turn the token into an earth. There we go. We're gonna turn a token into an earth. Let's see if that will... Oh my god, he registers it. Oh dear god. That is insane. Oh, but it doesn't use the tokens. That is interesting. Okay. You have me here, opponent. You have me here. All right. That is interesting. All right. You have my attention here, opponent. All right. That is interesting. All right. So it doesn't count tokens. That is interesting, since you can't banish tokens. Okay. You learned something new. All right. Now, we could go straight into Trigate Wizard, like right freaking now. But accept tokens. Shit. Okay. That's his restriction. All right. I think we should go into Proxy Dragon first. Yeah, we're gonna go into Proxy Dragon first. so that we can set up our two lines here. Yeah, we're gonna go into Proxy Dragon since it's literally the only option we have. We're gonna put it here since it only really needs two monsters. So there's that. Proxy Dragon here. There we go. And now we normal summon. Oop, 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 oop. Lag. Okay, there we go. All right. Now that that's happened, we're now going to go into Trigate. This and this. Yes, count it as two. There we go. There we go. I hope this is enough, question mark. If it's not, then I am screwed. It's usually never enough. Now we're going to go into the other Proxy Dragon, I guess. We're going to go into Cerberus. So we pick this and we pick this. There we go. That's two effects. And I don't think I will be able to do what I need to do. Oh no. Okay. New plan. New plan, new plan. We're gonna make our opponent draw a lot of cards anyway, so might as well go all in. Wait, am I locked out of an element of some sort? What does Masquerade need? Two non-link monsters. Oh no. Alright, so that is a problem. So what we can do instead is, and this only checks for tokens, unfortunately. So, we'll just go into Apollo USA, I guess. I mean, nothing else I can do about that, unfortunately. Yeah, I definitely screwed up somewhere, and this is why a lot of the Dragon Ruler decks have a lot of other backup plans within their engine, because the Dragon Rulers by themselves, while powerful, it's usually not enough. So that'll be it. Appaloosa Turbo, go! And the token disappears too. So, but we have an Appaloosa with 3 negates, so that should count for something. So we're gonna see what my opponent does, and I think they've drawn like half their deck. Well, almost half their deck. Start with 6 cards. Yeah, they've drawn a third of their deck rather. So let's see what happens. And it's super heavy samurais. Oh no. So that's going to be something. And yeah, getting the 2 new pendulums. These 2 pendulums alone have essentially supercharged the entirety of the super heavy samurai deck, and it is insane what they can do now. Although granted, they will not be able to FTK because Soul Burner, I believe, the one that was banned, they can't FTK now. But they have just without the FTK, they don't have a quick way to get games. But now they're just a synchro spam deck. They're just gonna do all of this. To ad infinitum. And also, it doesn't help that I threw them a lot of cards. But let's just hope that my 4 negates are going to be more than enough. So let's see here. That's 1 negate down. Let's see if my opponent does anything else. Alright, that's not a problem just yet. We're gonna see here. Target a super heavy samurai. I will not allow you to do that. Opponent, I'm sorry. I want to live, or at the very least, give you a hard time for me screwing up. Okay, so what else? You still have a bunch of cards in hand, and this is not once per turn. Okay, that is good to know. If cards, yeah, none of. Wow, I did not know that the super heavy samurai souls are not once per turn. All right, cool, sure. You can do that then. Keep going then, opponent. It's actually honestly really fun to watch super heavy samurai combo off. So there's a little something for everyone here. And yep, there's Scarecrow, and I'm gonna capture this all on footage, by the way, because super heavy samurai is one of those decks that's just honestly really fun to watch. I don't know about anyone else, but I like the fact that they do this much. Because although granted, the only boring part about it is they end on generic boss monsters instead of the in-archetype ones. Although granted, a lot of their in-archetype stuff is also really good. So you can also just play it like super pure and just play it as a go second combo deck. But the pendulum monsters, just quite literally shoehorn them into being more of a go first deck. So there's that. That is fine. Let's see what they do here. I'm assuming you do that. Yes. That will be that. So we're gonna see how far else they go here. Yep, scales. That will do his thing. And let's see. All right. They can still end on a level 8 here, since they have a tuner and a non-tuner. So yeah, I mean, this will be my last act of defiance against my super heavy samurai, and I honestly want him to win because um, Gong Strong is like my one of my favorite characters in to use in Duel Links. I mean, I don't always win with super heavy samurais there, but whenever I do, it feels great. It just feels great. Okay, yep, yeah, he's going into the generic synchro lines now, so we're just gonna see what my opponent's end board is going to be. So I'll just see you guys there. Okay, so this is my opponent's end board. Baxia, what's this guy's name? Basically, they ended with two dragons from the oh god, from the Zephyra. Yeah, two dragons from the Yangzing. What's the name of the other guy? I can never remember. I can never remember his name. There we go, Yazi. There we go. They ended with two Yangzing dragons, and then they ended, of course, Baron de Fleur and Bottled Savage Dragon, because synchro spam works like that these days. So yeah, definitely a deserved loss there, and honestly, I'm going to cut it here. Because you guys don't really want to watch me lose too many times. I mean, granted, that can also be a learning lesson in and of itself on how not to build dragon rulers. But otherwise, you guys have pretty much seen what the absolute floor of the deck is from here. There are definitely ways in order to make this deck a lot more, well-rounded. Just adding the synchro lines. The synchro lines are insane in this deck, by the way, because none of the dragon rulers don't necessarily need to be normal summoned. Just discard a proper element, and they will be there. They will just summon themselves anyway. And getting the levels to align for synchro plays is really easy. Just get a level 1 and you can already make a level 8 synchro. Having a level 3 gets you to your level 10s, and level 10s these days are extremely powerful. Case in point, Baron de Fleur and of course Borderlord Savage Dragon. The link lines also are really easy when supplemented by the synchro lines. So yeah, add an entire synchro package to your Dragon Ruler deck, and you will do far better than I ever will. So if you guys liked what you saw somehow, hit like, comment, subscribe, and share this among your friends. And until next time, toodles.